So we have to people get up here and talk, because true mastery is when you're able to teach something. Okay, does that make sense? I'm a coach for a living. I've been running my own gym for 8 years, and like my coaching is even shifting, and the Trivium is kind of shifting my coaching. As I'm realizing, on one of my presentations a few months ago, I went over the fourth way path, and this actually applies a lot to this. And the fourth way path is mind, body, emotions, and spirit. And so I realized, and I talked to John Bajale about this, like, we're working on becoming masters in training the body, but we forgot that the mind precedes the body. And so if you don't get your mind right, you're not going to get your body right. You won't get your emotions right, and you won't get your spirit right. When I say spirit, people are like, what does spirit mean? It's like, what's spirit? And to put it as simple as possible, right? A lot of people are stuck in this lowercase s self, rather than stepping into the higher case s self. And that's what I mean by spirit. Is that simple enough? Because like, I'll be like, oh, it's spiritual, it's so woo-woo, right? Let's just break this down. There's some people who are really trapped in a service to self mindset. They're here and they're suffering. A lot of people are popping prescription drugs because they don't want to change. They're really stuck there. They can't change their diet. And I see this all the time. Even with people who have lots of wealth, they're still trapped in this lower self. What you want to do, and that's what we're teaching today, is to give you the tools to tap into your higher self. I'm trying to draw an arrow here. And welcome. So, something I want you guys to think about with this whole triangle perception, right? Yeah. In order for you to tap into this higher self, is think about it like this. Yeah. If you see these two triangles, right? It's the Star of David or Sign of Solomon, or going over the 7 Hermetic principles, right? Is you have the upwards symbol as the masculine, and the downwards symbol, which is the feminine. And so as your mind and body become more balanced, and you start to apply these tools, like one we're going over later is the 21 ways of the samurai, negative balance. And it's a samurai balance there, right? Is you want to learn to create balance in your life between the masculine and feminine. We live in a world where we're all being separated. Like you're a dick grabber, you're a pussy grabber, and you're black, you're white, you're red, you're blue. We're all being separated, and like that's totally not what we're supposed to do. We have to go within ourselves to realize that we're both masculine and feminine. And so like that's different for each person. You're like, I'm not up here trying to preach a religion. I want to give you guys the tools to create your own success, wherever that is for you in your mind. We all have to do our own work. You guys with that? So that's essentially what we're doing today. Is we're giving you guys the tools for what we like to call a glorified bullshit detection system, which is the Trivium method. So let's get into this. The trivium means tri, which is 3, and vium comes from Latin via, meaning way. This is the 3-way path. Another way of looking at this, and let me know if I start going too fast, I get really excited sometimes, because I really enjoy talking about this stuff, is you want to look at it like this. It's a triangle, and the center of the word truth is you, because the truth is inside of you. There's always people like selling you their rhetoric, and I'll get into that in a second, right? And my goal for you guys learning this is to learn to create your own rhetoric. The word rhetoric, it's like a blueprint for your life, because the truth is inside of you through your 5 senses, all right? And how this works is the 3 and the 4, this is what comes up to create the 7 liberal arts, okay? And so the word liberal, the root of that is libere, which means to free in Latin. It's one of my favorite things about this. Doesn't that sound cool, to free, right? So as you apply this to your life, you learn to use the 3, 4, 5 triangle. Now who here has heard of the 3, 4, 5 triangle? Raise your hand. You guys heard of that? The Pythagorean theorem, right? Pythagoras, pretty smart dude. A lot of the stuff we're teaching here is based on his principles, right? And so the 3, 4, 5 triangle, if you take one thing away from the Trivium what I'm teaching you today, remember this key point. It's all about the 3, which is words. The 4, which is numbers. When you apply words and numbers together, you get the right angle to make a decision with your 5 senses. Did you guys get that? That's a really powerful point. I'm going to say it again. When you learn the Trivium, and this goes way deeper with words, this goes way deeper with numbers, we're only staying on the surface today. But when you learn how to apply words and numbers, you will know how to make the right decision with your 5 senses. So this can mean a lot of different things for people as you go deeper into this, and like I said, we're just keeping it simple today, is that you want to work on developing your 5 senses. Right? At the most basic level. How can you develop, so when you're ingesting information from the world around you, you're going to make better decisions. Right? So let's go into some of the basics of what grammar, logic, and rhetoric are. To put it as simply as possible, grammar is the building blocks. It's words, abstract words. And on a side topic from this, I've been saying this a lot to my clients who have been struggling with changing their diet or changing their life. There's a lot of negative self-talk. You ever get that, JL, where you get people like, they train really hard, but like, yeah, but I'm just not good enough. I worked out really hard, but that set wasn't good enough. There's this like, what are you saying? I mean, we've all done that. You know, you have that little negative voice in your head saying stuff. Is that words, right? You want to look at words like this. You want to put an S in the front. It's like swords. Because you're stabbing yourself with your words. Like, this is really important stuff right here. People don't realize this. Because we haven't been taught the roots of our language and how it works. So people can actually subconsciously, right? And it's kind of like an iceberg, right? This is my rendition of an iceberg. There's a tip here, and it's way bigger down here. And this is where your subconscious mind is. If you're not aware of what's going on subconsciously, you're completely sabotaging your entire life. Does that make sense? We've all done this at certain points in our life, and you could still be doing this. I could still be doing this. But the more you work on this, you do the work, you're going to be able to let go of some of the subconscious deficiencies. And it's things that are holding you back, right? It's just on a subconscious level. Beliefs, yes, absolutely right. Eliminate limiting beliefs. I work with people with that. That's what they do for a living. They help people eliminate limiting beliefs. And that was like a little side tangent there, but does that make sense? That's why this is so important. You have to get the grammar right. You have to get the words right. Most people, let me get to this. So it's words. Those words create the house, right? Which is logic. And the rhetoric is the blueprints for how to create the house. That's what I'm doing for you guys right now. I'm showing you the blueprints for how to create the rhetoric. Because like I said from the beginning, my goal is for you to be able to create your own rhetoric. Most of the time, when we're in society, we're sold this. We're sold, this is why you should do it. This is the logic. And then you're given rhetoric, and you're never actually properly assessing the grammar. That's why so many times in society you see politicians, this is a logical reason to do this. And I'll go over in a moment some of the logical fallacies. Does anybody have any questions so far? Pretty good? Excellent. So, another way of looking at this, we have the building blocks, right? Put them together to build the house, and then you have the blueprint for how to build the house. Is we have the who, what, when, and where of any given situation. That's what the building blocks are. So you shouldn't make a decision unless you have the who, what, when, and where. People are trying to sell you logic before you've gotten those. That's not a good decision to make, right? If you're, I use this as an example, I think it's a good way to explain it. Your teenage daughter or son is about to go on a date. Is there a few questions you want to ask? Who, what, when, where? That's how you get the grammar down. So you know if you're going to make a decision, right? So you're going to go through your 5 senses. Who is this guy? Why does he have so many tattoos? Is he like, why does he drive a motorcycle? But you know what I'm saying? So you got to answer those questions, and then that gets you to the why. That's why you make a decision. Right? This is all very simple stuff. Most of the things that we're teaching, you're already using this stuff. You don't have a system for using it. That's why it's so powerful to me. It's like, I already know like who, what, when, where, why, but like, oh, now I have to actually apply it in this line. What a system is, I'm going on for another tangent here, is it saves yourself time, energy, and money. That's what a system does. Does that make sense? I think it's a really powerful acronym, because that's what this does for you when you start applying this to your life. But back to here, is when you do the who, what, when, and where, you get to the why, and then you come to the how. Okay? That is the blueprint for how you live your life, right? You're already using these words, these swords, to create your world, right? You're cutting your world up, right, with your words. But now when you apply this, now you have more control over it with your 5 senses. You guys with that? Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Like I said, this stuff goes deeper. There's other ways of explaining that. We want you guys to do your own homework too. We want you guys to get up here and speak and teach this stuff as well. Okay? Let's go over this number stuff. Like I said, we're keeping it basic. Arithmetic is just abstract numbers. Geometry is numbers in space. Music is numbers in time. And astronomy is numbers in time and space. Does that make sense? So how this works is that if you're just measuring something, that's just general arithmetic, measurement. Geometry, which is geometry, which is earth measure, is measurement of space. My body is space, right? Time is like a measurement of like the intervals between my voice coming out to you as you're catching it with your 5 senses, correct? And then astronomy is time and space. That's when all those come together, the measurement of time and space. That's how you measure like an object moving, like a rocket scientist, like I couldn't do this, but you can measure how a satellite's moving through space and how you can have another thing connect to it. I have no idea, it's like rocket scientist stuff, right? But that's what they're doing. It's astronomical proportions of calculations that I could never comprehend, but that's the depths of mathematics. Now, what I thought about this morning actually, is how you can combine your rhetoric, the three, like 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one here, in time and space. That's where action occurs. You guys, who here knows about the 4 elements? 4 elements, right? Heard about the 4 elements? This is something that blew my mind, and like I said, this goes much deeper, but I'm only going to the basics of it today, is that arithmetic is air, geometry is earth, music is water, and astronomy is fire.
What about ether?
That's you. You're the 5th element.
The human element.
Yes, because that's the 5.
The
Right?
spirit.
So you are the 5 senses there. Like that's the way I interpret it. Everything I'm saying today, you're creating your own interpretation of it. Go do your own homework. You know what I'm saying? I'm just taking stuff that I've learned from like ancient people and just passing it on to you guys, right? But always do your own homework.
Some would say your 5 senses, you know, is the ether in a way.
I always took ether as a culmination into like the reality of it, kind of what puts it all together.
Yes. Yeah, there's all kinds of different interpretations. I've even heard that the symbol of the cross is the 4 elements, and then your body's the 5th element.
I like that interpretation much better than the religious.
Yes, I think so too, because Jesus is a symbol of you in my eyes, and so you're hanging the cross and experiencing this reality through the 4 elements, and then that's where if you have these tools, you're going to have you're a much higher level of perception. I mean, essentially all these tools are sitting there. Just the people that rule the world, they know this, and they learn this as children, and they didn't teach us this because they want you to be smart, you know what I mean? That was go get a good job, work hard, you know, and like for me, working hard was giving people the tools to think for themselves, right? So, to bring this all together, let me finish by going over a few logical fallacies. Now, who here has been to a couple of our meetings in the past who went over logical fallacies? Right? I know you were here, JL. Who was here last time we actually acted out a couple of them? That was cool, wasn't it? So, do you remember any logical fallacies? Give me one.
Straw man.
What's a straw man? Putting you on the spot a little bit.
You point to some topic that's not really what you're discussing and discuss that instead of the topic.
Exactly. Absolutely correct. And the thing is, a lot of logical fallacies, they kind of tie together. When I say logical fallacy, the word fallacy, right, is Latin fallare, which means to lie. It's fallacious. Okay? And so when something is logically fallacious, you've put it through this whole trivium thing, right? You assess the who, what, when, what, where, why, and how, and you just determine that it's logically fallacious because someone created a straw man from the conversation. Or another example is the red herring technique. It's used all the time where a hunting dog is taught to take a path and they drag a red herring across the path. It's used in politics all the time where somebody asks a politician a question, they don't answer the question, they talk about something completely different, and then people are like, oh, okay. But if you call somebody out, say, you're using the red herring technique, please answer the question. You're not being rude, you're being honest. And so that's what we need people to do, people to be aware of not being, this is why I teach this to my clients. I actually I was telling Jill, I showed this 17-year-old girl, I trained her mom, she started sending her daughter to me in my second session with her. And I showed her, she's like, why aren't you teaching this in high school? This is amazing. She loved it, and she's like, it gives you more confidence when you have to make decisions because you run it through the trivium system in your mind. You run it through the logical fallacy. It's like I could be like trying to sell JL on this lovely new red pen. And JL, that's a really nice blue shirt, but it'd look a lot better with this red pen. You know. It's like appeal to emotion, right? To appeal to flattery because he looks great in a red and blue shirt. But it's like people use that kind of shit all day on you. But if you're not aware of it, you're gonna be like, wow, I just bought this red pen and it sucks. Here you go, Jay.
It's the newest one.
It's the latest version.
Because it's the newest one.
Because it's the newest version. It's the best, right? So that's appeal to novelty, right? Or appeal
version 3 because that's better.
Yes.
Or another example is
we've always been doing it this way.
That's one of the biggest ones for me. That's one of the biggest problems. You're going to hear that, and it's one of my challenges. Even right now, my dad comes to these meetings too, and my dad's finishing his career in the film industry, and he's gotten really out of shape. And so, for me, it's like part of it is people have in their mind, I've been living this way, I have to keep living this way, and that's a story in his mind because I want to get him out of his career and create, like I say, retire, it's not retiring, you're refiring. And you're sticking your life back in the fire, and you're creating a new world for yourself. I train a lot of clients who are like twice my age, I like helping them restructuring how they think, right? So, but that's a big problem, is you're like, well, it's always been this way, and people are like, that's that whole subconscious thing. They're actually, a lot of these logical fallacies, you can apply them to yourself, and you're like, fuck, that was a logically fallacious thought. You know, like, you can really call yourself out. And a lot of this that I think is extremely powerful is you can do a lot of self-healing. Right?
When I first started looking at all this stuff, I know I what the hell was I thinking? You come over
Yes.
and just kind of,
Yes.
when you start to really go over your thought process, you start to realize just how flawed it is. Because that's 28 years, I never thought about it.
Yes, because you're never given the tools. And one of the things that I really enjoy about this, and I want to get, is we're still on the surface, because we're still learning. You know, in the next year, we're actually going to start planning this stuff out even more deeply, and creating a logo, creating a website, and like getting, we want to create, it's like a little community. Once a month, we can come down and we can talk about all this stuff. But, what was I going to say? Let me go over a couple more logical fallacies, and then we'll start moving on. Give me another logical fallacy.
False dichotomy.
False dichotomy. What's an example of false dichotomy? Somebody else. You have two choices for president.
Yeah.
Right?
Two-party system,
Yeah.
We are free. We have two choices for president. Like, if you think about how fucking insane that is, it's ridiculous. And like I was talking to Jill, it's like, you have to vote. It's your only, it's all you have. It's like, fuck, if that's all I have, what do we have? Like, it's like, like, come on. Like, for me personally, it's like, we have the systems in place, and it's the whole, like, argument from Antiquity. But for me personally, it's like, how can I make an impact? Like, doing stuff like this, or like with my fitness community down in Novato. That's where I'm gonna make the biggest impact. I could go write on pieces of paper voting all day, but when I do this, this is what's gonna make the biggest difference. You vote every day with your money, right? I mean, we can touch on that for a second. Pen? I'll finish with that. You know, it's like, when you use your five senses, you have to look at it as like the word money, right, is mono eye. It means one eye. Now people like they might say like, oh, that's not true. But if you think about it, our reality is created by monarchy, right? Or back in the day, not anymore, right? There's no monarchy anymore, but monarchy.
That's what they say.
But monarchy means one master, right? And so our one master created money, which is mono eye. And people are like, that's not true. Part of it is like, you know, it's your one eye. The word money is the word one between the word my, because it is my one eye. So I was saying, when a couple guys came in earlier, it's like, part of me with the Trivium, I'm actually more successful in making more money because I realized money is paper. It comes from trees. It's made of water. My body's made of water. I can have as much money as I want, right? Because it's just a currency. It just moves through you. Like a lot of people I've found is like they have money issues too. It's like, you don't have the tools. The money shouldn't be an issue, right? It's like our monarchy, they created a system. You can learn the tools and you can do whatever you want in the system because it's dying. You understand? You have to believe that. And so, but you still have to work within it and understand how it works, and then you can master it by using these tools, and you're going to be more successful in every aspect of your life. That's why I love teaching this stuff. So, what do you guys think?
Cool.
All right.